Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and for today's video we will be discussing another topic in Physics 1, and this is called projectile motion. What is a projectile motion? It is a two-dimensional motion wherein the motion exhibits a parabolic path. So when you throw an object and it passes through a path that is a parabolic, so we can classify this as projectile motion. So meron tayong dalawang uri ng projectile motion. Pwede kasi tayo makabuo ng half of a parabola, or we can also make a motion that is in full parabola. So tignan natin to. So ito yung example ng isang projectile motion wherein an object is being thrown from a given altitude. So halimbawa, ito yung objects, binato siya pa horizontally. Halimbawa, ito pa ganyan. So we all know that if you throw an object from a certain height, so bababa siya ng bababa, pababa yung path niya. So kung mapapansin nyo, kalahating parabola lang. Kaya siya tinawag na half of parabola. So ito yung object, papunta siya dito. So meron tayong makikita ditong Vx and Vy, then the V. The velocity, yung V dito, it is the actual velocity. And for every velocity, there is a x component and y component. So we have the Vx and the Vy. Then we also have here the Vx and the Vy, then the velocity also. This is for the initial, and these ones are for the final velocity. So, ito naman yung range. It is the distance traveled by an object. So, kung mula dito, horizontally ha. So, ito yung object dito. Mula siya, galing siya dito. Then, ito yung kinabagsakan niya. So, yung point from this to this is what we call the range. So, yun yung mga kailangan natin mahanap. There is a formula to get that. And later on, we will be discussing the formula. Then, the other type of projectile motion is the full parabola. So, ito naman, nabuo niya talaga yung itsura ng parabola. So, pag ganito siya. The object came from here. So, this is the object that is being thrown from a given angle. Ito yung angle natin, the theta symbol. Then, there is a Vx and a Vy also, and the velocity. Yun yung velocity natin, pero may component siya na Vx and the Vy. Okay, may mga formula rin yan mamaya. Then, eto, kung makapansin niyo, meron akong line na sinunod dito. Then, mayroong Vy is equal to 0. Vy is the y component of the object, yung velocity niya, pag na-reach niya yung maximum height. So, kung mapapansin niyo, magiging 0 yon. Yung object, yung velocity niya magiging 0. So, mawawalan siya ng speed. Kasi magiging 0 yun. Pag na-reach niya yung maximum height. Bakit ba nangyari yun? Kung mapapansin niyo, pag nagbato kayo ng object, bumababa rin yung kaagad. Kasi, bababa siya kapag na-reach niya na yung pinakamataas na height na pwede niya maabot. So, mawawalan siya ng velocity doon. Kasi pag nagbato ka ng object, yung velocity nun ay pababa ng pababa. Okay, due to gravitational acceleration, which is equal to 9.8 meter per second squared. Then, we also have the range. Ito, from this point up to this point, kung saan yung narating niya. Binato mo yung object, ito yung path na tinravel niya. Then, from this point to this point, there is what we call again the range. So, let's have the formula para sa dalawa, sa half and the full. So, lagay lang dito, yung half natin, ito yung mga formulas natin. Then, these are the formulas for the full parabola ng projectile motion natin. So, para mas maintindihan ninyo, we will be giving some examples here. I have here 4 examples to solve para mas maintindihan nyo kung saan at kailan ginagamit yung mga formulas for the half parabola and the full parabola projectile motion. So, let's start. Let's have the first example. Let me read this first and analyze the problem. A soccer ball is kicked horizontally from the roof of a building that is 150 meters tall and lands 200 meters from the base of the building. Calculate A, the time spent before it reached the range. And letter B is the initial speed of the ball. So, i-analyze natin muna para malaman natin kung yan ba ay half or full. Sabi, If a soccer ball is kicked horizontally, ito yung keyword natin dyan eh. The ball is kicked horizontally. Kapag meron kayo nakitang ganyan na sinipa daw yung bola horizontally, ibig sabihin yan ay half lang. Okay? Kapag nagbato ka ng isang object horizontally, pag ganyan, from a given height, may given height tayo 150 meters, yun yung height of the building. So doon sinipa yung bola. So kung ito yung building natin, at yan ay may height na 150 meters. Yan yung kung gaano kataas yung building. Ito yung building. Ito yung ball. Then sinipa siya horizontally. So basically bababa yan. Pag ganyan. Okay, so may given tayo 150 meters. Yan yung height of the building. And 200 meters from the base. Sabi dito, it lands. The ball lands 200 meters from the base. So ito yung base natin. Diyan nagsimula yung bola. Then nagland siya ng 200 meters. Gaano kalayo? That is 200 meters. So, yung given range natin. 200 meters. So, yan yung range. Ito yung height. So, may R tsaka H tayo. Ang hinahanap natin ngayon is letter A and letter B. So, paano ngayon yan? The time spent before it reached the range. So, gaano katagal yung itinake niya para ma-reach yung 200 meters. From a height of 150 meters, ito yung bola natin. So, paano gagawin natin ngayon? Ang gagawin natin ay ito. 150 meters, tama? So, the time spent, so time ang hahanapin natin. So, kung ito yung diagram natin, ito yung representation ng problem, so we will be using the formula from the half. So, formula natin for the time here is this. Gagamit tayo na itong formula na to. Height equals 1/2 of gravitational acceleration times squared. So, yun gagawin natin kasi yun yung may time. Okay? So, there is also another given here, formula here na meron ding time. Pero wala kasi tayong velocity. Meron lang tayong range. So, hindi pwedeng dalawang variable na nawawala. Ito naman may time din. May gravitational acceleration, pero wala tayong y component ng velocity natin. Okay, so basically ang maggamit talaga natin ito kasi may height tayo, then may gravitational acceleration. That is equal to 9.8 meter per second squared. So gamitin natin tong formula. H equals 1/2 g t squared. So the height is 150 equals 1/2. G natin ay yung 9.8. Yan yung formula, yan yung value na constant value of the gravitational acceleration. Then the time, yung nawawala, t squared. So i-manipulate lang natin. That is 150 equals 1/2 times 9.8. So, i-multiply lang natin yan. That is equal to, yung 1/2 is 0.5. 0.5 times 9.8. So, that is equal to 4.9. So, 4.9 t squared. Then, to solve for the t, you have to divide it both sides by 4.9. Then, cancel it out. It is equal to t squared equals 150, divide natin, 150 divided by 4.9. That is equal to 30.61. But it's not yet the final answer because we still have to eliminate the exponent or the square. So, use the square root to eliminate that. So, cancel natin itong square na yan. Magiging t na lang. Then, get the square root of this. Square root of 30.61. That is equal to 5.53. 5.53 seconds. That is the time that we are looking for the letter A. What about the B? The initial speed of the ball. So, how to get the initial speed? We just have to get the VI. So, VI ito yon. That is equal to VX. Wala tayong VX. So, para makuha natin yon, Ang gagawin lang natin is this. Ito muna tayo. The initial speed. So, ang gagawin lang natin, lagi tayo ng another solution dito. For letter B. So, pansin natin ito yung representation natin, class. Diba ito yung range natin, 200 meters. Then, ito yung height natin, 150 meters. Ang hinahanap natin is the initial speed. So, dito, class, kailangan natin kunin yung formula na ginagamit para makuha yung initial speed natin. Or ito, VI is equal to Vx. Ang pwede natin gamitin formula ay ito. Since ang VI natin initial speed ay equal lang sa Vx, itong Vx na to, pwede natin makuha yan gamit itong formula. Range is equal to Vx times time. So, paano ba makakuha yun? So, use the formula R equals Vx times time. Okay? Paano ngayon yan? Range is equal to ito, yung 200. So, 200 equals, yung Vx ay nawawala. Then, the time, we already computed for the time. That is equal to 5.53. That's it. Then, to look for the initial velocity or the Vx, kasi nga Vi and Vx magkaparehas lang yan. So, yan din yung initial velocity nyo. Divided both sides by 5.53. Sorry. 53. Cancel natin yan. So, the initial velocity or the Vx is equal to 200 divided by 5.53. 200 divided by 5.53. That is equal to 36.17. Kasi 16 yan, no? May 6 dito, so magiging 17. 36.17. That is our initial velocity. The unit for this is meter per second. Kasi yan ay velocity. Next. So we are done already solving the first problem for the A and B. The time spent and the initial speed of the ball. Let's have another example to understand it more. What about this problem? A soccer ball is kicked off the ground at an angle of 40 degrees at a speed of 47 meters per second. So, what we're going to find here is the maximum height, so yung h that the ball reached, then find the time it will take to hit the ground. And number 3 is find the horizontal distance. When we say horizontal distance, we are looking for the range that is traveled by the ball. So let's have the given first. Soccer ball is kicked. So 40 degrees angle. So meron tayong angle na theta yan. That is 40 degrees. Then at a speed of 47 meter per second. So kapag binigay yung angle, class, so itong 47 meter per second, yan yung velocity mo. Hindi yan Vx, hindi rin Vy. So yan ay V lang. Okay? So, V is equal to 47 meter per second. Inuulit ko, pag mayroong binigay na angle, 40 degrees, and then may binigay na velocity, yung velocity na yun ay hindi Vx, hindi rin Vy. So, i-analyze muna natin kung ano ba to. Half ba to o full? So, yan ay a soccer ball is kicked off the ground. So, mula sa ground. Kung ito yung ground natin, ito yung bola. Okay, sinipa siya at an angle of 40 degrees. Kung, let's say ito yung 40 degrees natin. So, then, magmumula, then pababa dito. Okay, so ito ay full. Kasi nagsimula sa ground. Hindi siya horizontally. So, meron siyang angle kung sinipa siya. So, ito yung sinipa siya. Then, ito yung maximum height natin. So, ang given ay yung velocity nito. Yung velocity niyan ay 47 meter per second. Ang hinahanap is the maximum height. Ano yung height nito? Maximum, ito yung height na tinutukoy. Yan yung pinakamataas na height. Kasi yung ito, hindi naman siya maximum. Hindi rin to maximum, hindi rin maximum. Maximum yung nasa gitna. Kasi yung pinakamataas. Okay? So, ang gagawin natin formula is the full. Formulas from the full parabola projectile motion. So, ang hinahanap ay the maximum height that is denoted as capital letter H. H is equal to V squared sine squared theta over 2G. So, yung gagamitin yung formula, height is equal to, yung V natin ay 47. Pero that is squared. V squared. Then sine squared. Yung theta natin ay yung, 40 degrees. Divided by 2G. So, 2. Yung G natin ay is equal to 9.8 meter per second squared. So, gawin lang natin is to calculate this on our calculator. So, 47 squared. Itong gagawin natin, 47 then squared. Then times. Ito class, itong sine squared. Pag nilagay mo sa calculator yan, huwag mong gawin ganito, sine squared. Mali po yan. Ang gawin natin ay ganito, sine. Ilagay tayo ng parenthesis, sine. Lagay mo na kagad yung 40. And then, lagay mo yung squared. Okay, so sine 40 squared, parehas lang yan sa sine squared 40. Then, divide lang natin sa ilalim. Lagay tayo ng parenthesis for the whole denominator. Parenthesis, 2 times 9.8. Yung nasa ilalim, 2 times 9.8. That is equal to 46.57. Okay? So, the height is equal to 46.57. So, double check lang natin. The unit of this would be the unit of the distance, which is meter. Double check lang natin. 47 squared. So, isa-isa naman natin. That is equal to 2,000. Then, times sine squared. Sine, parenthesis pa lang. Sine 40 squared. Then, divided by 2 times 9.8. 2 times 9.8. So, yun sagot natin. 46.57. 56, so round it off, magiging 57. So, we're done with number 1. Next is number 2. Find the time it will take to hit the ground. Tignan nyo itong formulas natin sa full. Meron tayong capital letter T and the small letter t. Kasi itong capital letter T is the total time. Meron tayo dito, di ba ito yung maximum height? Kung hatinan sa dalawa yan, may time na maliit dito. Yan ay mula dito lang hanggang dito. Then meron din tayong time dito. Mula naman dito sa maximum height hanggang dito sa pinatunguhan niya. Time. Then pag pinagsama yan, that is equal to total time. Capital letter T. So ang hinahanap natin sa number 2 is find the time it will take to hit the ground. Ito yung ground, ito yung na-hit niya na. So ang hinahanap yung total time. Yung capital letter T. Kasi yung hinahanap is yung time na gamit niya para ma-reach niya ulit yung ground. From the ground to another ground. Okay? So, ang gagamitin natin formula is this. T. So, T equals 2V sine theta over G. So, total time is equal to 2. V is 47. Yun yung given kanina, ito. Then, sine 40. Wala nang squared sine lang, pagka total time. Divided by 9.8 meter per second squared. Then, total time is equal to, let's just put this on our calculator. 2 times 47, then sine 40, equals natin yan. Then, divided by 9.8. That is equal to 6.17. Okay, 165 yan. So, magiging 17 na lang. So, magiging 6.17. That is in seconds. So, that is the total time. Okay, that is already number 2. Let's have number 3. Find the horizontal distance. When we say horizontal distance, ito yung distance daw. distance na to. Gaano kalayo yan? From this point to this point. So that is the range. So hanapin natin yung range. Range natin for the full, ito yung gagawin yung formula. That is equal to V cosine theta times the total time. Capital letter T, not the small t. So R equals, the V is 47 cosine 40 degrees, yung theta natin. Then the total time is, yung nakuha natin kanina, 6.17. Okay, lagay natin ulit sa formula yan, or sa calculator rather. 47 cosine 40. Then, i-ano mo natin yan, i-equal sa inyo muna, tsaka nyo i-times yung 6.17. 6.17. So, the answer is 222.15. So, the range is 222.15. So, that is meter kasi distance yan, horizontal distance. So, that is the answer for number 3. So, we are done with this problem. We have already the answer for number 1, the maximum height. That is 46.57 meters. The number 2 is the time that is being spent. So, yun. Ito, 6.17 seconds. Then, the number 3 is horizontal distance, the range. That is equal to 222.15 meters. So, that's it for number 2. Let's have another example to understand it more. What about this? An old keychain was thrown with a velocity of 16 meters per second from a window. So, sa window, binato daw yung old keychain na yun. Then, after 2.5 seconds, find the velocity of the keychain. So, velocity ang hinahanap natin dito, ha? Then, horizontal displacement, yung R. Then, the height of the window. So, ngayon, may height yung window, tama? Andiyan yung window natin. So, dito binato yung keychain. So, kalahati lang yan. So, half lang tayo. Then, may velocity na binigay. Thrown with a velocity. So, dito, automatically, may V na tayo. V is equal to 16 meter per seconds. Then, actually, itong ano yan, with a velocity of 16, yan ay VI pa lang. Okay? Then 2.5 seconds, yan yung time natin. So the time is 2.5 seconds. So ang inahanap is letter A, velocity of the keychain. So itong 16 ay initial velocity pala, kaya meron tayo nahanap na another velocity. Okay? Yung final velocity naman natin. So, paano natin mahahanap yun? Ito na tayo. Start tayo dito ulit. Use the formula under half. So, meron tayong mga formulas na pwedeng gamitin. Let's look for the velocity. So, may VI na tayo. Ang hinahanap natin is another velocity. So, para makuha yun, ang gagamitan natin ito. Okay? Kasi ito yung velocity na kailangan. Hindi naman sinabi siya na y component. Okay? So, hindi mo hanapin yung Vy. Kasi ang pinakakailangan mo is the velocity. Yung actual velocity. At para makuha yun, gagamit ka ng formula. V is equal to Vx squared. V squared pala yan nakalagay. Vx squared plus Vy squared. So, ang given lang natin ay Vi, which is 16, initial velocity. Then, we all know that the Vi is equal to Vx. So, yung Vi na yan is also the Vx. Okay? So, may magagamit na tayong isa. V squared is equal to, ito yung Vx natin. Ang Vx ay 16. Pero squared natin yan. Okay, plus, yung Vy natin, wala. So, gamit tayo ng formula ng Vy, kailangan natin yan para makuha yung velocity na hinahanap. So, Vy is equal to Gt. Since meron naman tayong G, 9.8, meron tayong time which is 2.5, pwede natin makuha yung Vy. So the Vy is equal to 9.8 times the time which is 2.5. So multiply lang natin yan, 9.8 times 2.5. That is 24.5. So Vy is 24.5. So siya yung Vy. Bakit natin kinuha yung Vy? Kasi to get the velocity that we're looking for, gagamit tayo ng formula na to. This formula requires Vx and Vy. So yung Vx natin, since may given initial velocity, at nakalagay dito, initial velocity is equal to Vx, so yun na rin yung Vx natin, which is 16. Kaya nilagay ko na 16 squared. Then the Vy has to be computed first using the formula Gt. So you have to multiply 9.8 and the given time, which is 2.5. So I multiplied it, 9.8 and the 2.5, I got an answer of 24.5 meter per second. So that would be the Vy. Lalagay ko yun dito, 24.5 squared. So let's compute 16 squared. So 16 squared, yan, is equal to 256. Lagay ko dito. Plus 24.5 squared ulit. That is equal to 600.25. Then I have to add them. So angat ko lang dito yan para ma-add natin. So 256 plus 600, ito na yung sagot, diba? Plus 256 na lang natin yan. 856.25. So V squared pa lang yan. Tandaan nyo, V squared pa lang yan equals 856.25. We're looking for the velocity. So let's get the square root of both sides. So ito, cancel na yan. Magiging V na lang. Then get the square root of your answer. Square root of 856.25. That is equal to 29.26. Okay? So the velocity, the final velocity is 29.26 meter per second. Kasi velocity yan. So that is the answer for letter A. Then letter B, let's look for the horizontal displacement. Again, when we say horizontal displacement, it is the range. So ito yung range natin. So madali na lang yan, range Vx times t. So may Vx naman tayo kanina, di ba? Yung binigay nating given, which is this, 16. Yung Vi is equal to Vx. Sa half, parehas lang sila. Vx and Vi, parehas lang yan. So 16 na yan. 16, then the time is 2.5 kanina. Ito yun ang binigay. So multiply lang daw yan. 16 times 2.5. That is equal to 40. The range is 40. Since range yan, gaano kalayo? That is meter. 40 meters. So, simple as that. What about letter C? What would be the height of the window? So, gaano daw kataas yung window? So, ito, gaano kataas to? So, let's use the formula height. That's equal to 1/2 gt squared. So, meron tayong height. Yung 1/2, pwede natin sulat 0.5 para malagay sa calculator na mabilis. Yung g ay 9.8. Then, the time is 2.5 squared. So, height natin is this. 0.5 times 9.8 times 2.5 then squared. That is equal to 30.63. 30.63. That is the height. So, ang height natin para sa unit ng range, meters. 30.63 meters. So, these are the answers for this problem. The velocity, the horizontal displacement, and the height of the window. So, let's proceed now with the last example para mas maintindihan nyo na talaga to. This one. A senior high school student kicks a bottle of mineral water along the way. The kick resulted to a velocity of 15 meter per second that moves the bottle at an angle. May angle ulit tayo. So yung velocity na to ay hindi siya x component or y component. Siya ay v, velocity, actual velocity natin. With the floor, calculate the following: A, B, C, and D. So kaya natin to, madali lang to class. Lagyan natin given. So meron tayong unang given ay velocity. So yan ay v. V lang, hindi siya Vx or Vi kasi may angle na binigay. So, pag may angle na binigay, automatically that is full. Full yan kapag may angle. So, velocity ay 15 meter per second. Then, an angle is 25 degrees. So, ang gagawin natin formula ay from the full parabola of projectile motion. So, let's calculate the following. A, time the bottle to reach its maximum height. So, kung i-illustrate natin, ito yung bottle. Sinipa siya at 25 degrees from the ground. So, lagay tayo dito ng representation. Ang range natin ay ito. Okay, ang maximum height ito, yung gitna, lagi yan, yung maximum height. Okay, so ano daw yung time para ma-reach yung maximum height? So ito lang yung class. So yeah, ano yung time, ilan daw yung time para ma-reach na yung bottle na yan, para ma-reach na yung maximum height. So hindi yan total height, kalahati lang. So ang gagamitin nyo ito. Itong small letter t. So, gamit tayo ng small letter t equals v. Yung v natin ay 15. Then, sine. The theta is 25 divided by the g. So, time natin is equal to this. 15. Then, sine 25 equals mo natin then divided by 9.8. That is equal to 0.65. 64 yan, pero may 6 na katabi, 0.65. Okay? 0.65 yan yung time natin. Seconds. Small letter t lang yan, ha? Okay? Next, let's have letter B, the maximum height. So, ito, ano yung capital letter H? Use the formula for the full, not this. Kasi full tayo, buong parabola yan. So, V squared. O ito, formula V squared. So, 15 squared. Then, sine squared. Then, theta natin is 25. All over 2 times 9.8. So, sine squared 25 yan, ha. So, lagyan na sa formula. 15. 15. Then, squared. Then ito, parenthesis, para sa sine squared, lagay ng parenthesis, sine 25 muna. Okay, then lagay mo yung square sa dulo. Sine 25, then square. Parehas lang sa sine squared 25. Then, divided by, parenthesis para sa ilalim, 2 times 9.8. Close parenthesis. Then equals, that is equal to 2.05. So, the height is 2.05. So, height yan. Ang the unit natin ay meters. Okay? Check lang natin ulit. 15 squared equals natin. Then, sine squared, times muna natin, times, yung answer natin. Sine 25 squared equals natin. Then, divided by 2 times 9.8. That is equal to 2.05. So, tama yung sagot natin. Double check lang natin. So, that is the answer in letter B. Let's have letter C. Total time of the projectile. So, total time. Kasi nakakuha na tayo ng time, pero maliit lang yung time natin. So, ito pa. Pagka total time, kasama na yung buo. Isa pang kalahati. So, ang gagawin nyo lang dyan, basically, use the formula. Okay? Or you can just simply multiply this answer into 2. So, gawin natin. So, T, total time na kasi ang hinahanap eh. Total time. So, capital letter T. So, 2. Then, yung V natin ay 15. Kanina, di ba? 15 yung binigay natin. That is the velocity, which is 15. And then, sine theta, sine 25 degrees over G. So, or the G is 9.8. So, 9.8. Total time is equal to, multiply again natin, 2 times 15, then sine 25, equals, then divided by 9.8. Don't forget that. 1.29. So, 1.29. That is our total time, 1.29 seconds. Next is last one, letter D. How far did the bottle reach after the kick? So, how far daw? So, ang tinutukoy dyan is the range. Ito yon. From this point to this point, yung range natin. So, yan ay capital letter R. So, madali lang yan. So, capital letter R is equal to, the range is velocity cosine theta times the total time. So, R, substitute lang tayo. V is 15 again. Cosine. Yung theta natin ay given angle natin 25 degrees. Then the total time times natin times yung total time yung kanya ito 1.29. Okay, baka magkamali kayo dito sa pag-press sa calculator. Una nyo muna i-press ay ito. Okay? I-press nyo muna yung 15 cosine 25 bago nyo i-multiply sa 1.29. Kasi baka magkaiba yung sagot. So, gawin natin. So, ngayon, 15 cosine 25. Then, equal sign nyo muna. Tsaka nyo i-times yung 1.29. 17.53. Kasi baka magkamali kayo. Halimbawa, ang ginawa nyo ganito. Di ba ang sagot natin 17 point something? Ito, pag ginawa nyo ganito, 15, tuloy-tuloy, 15 cosine 25 times 1.29. Dito pala parehas na magiging sagot. Pero may mga ibang calculator na nag-iiba yung sagot. Kasi ang ginagawa, minumultiply yung 25 times 1.29, which is wrong. So, ang sagot natin ay 17.53. 17.53. Since this is the range, so we can use the unit of meters or meter. So that is the answer for the range for this problem. So we're done our 4 examples. I hope that you learned something from this video. Don't forget to subscribe to keep you more updated on the next video. Thank you.